couple of videos ago, I made a video about a doctor that contacted me, and he was talking about how he makes $400,000 and he had a lot of debt. He couldn't even make his monthly bills, and I was talking about that in that video. And there was a subscriber. Well, I don't know if he was a subscriber. There was somebody that was watching that video, and he put cap on there, and he said, "Why would somebody that makes that much money contact you?" I ended up deleting his comment and blocking him, but I just don't like negativity. If you have that type of energy, I'm just going to block you and delete you. I do want to talk about that situation, that doctor. A lot of times people don't understand the difference between cash accumulation and cash flow. And I want to talk about that in this video. But what if I told you that your financial success wasn't predicated upon how much money you earn? Your financial success is predicated upon what you do with the money that you receive, your earned income. What do you do with that money? That's what cash flow is about. See, the only thing that separated the Carnegies and the Rockefellers was the system. And it's of my opinion that's the difference between rich and wealth. Rich is defined by the amount of money you earn or that you have, and wealth is defined by your system. If one has a system and the other one doesn't, eventually the person with the system is going to outpace the one that doesn't. I've been blessed to have several mentors in my life that taught me how to put a system in place. I just want to give you some of the knowledge that was given to me to help you guys, along your financial journey.
Out of love, we pass down bad habits from generation to generation. But it's what we don't know that we don't know that's killing us. There's not a welfare mother in this country that doesn't want her child to be successful, intelligent, hardworking, and tax-paying if for no other reason than to feel proud of them. But you can't give what you don't have in a blind town of one-eyed man's king. If you don't know better, you cannot do better.
Most people overlook the power of cash flow. And cash flow is about your budget. What is it that you do with the money that you have coming in? Understanding that the money that you have, it needs to go into assets that's going to make more money than just sitting idle. There's a difference between investing and savings. A lot of times you will have people like they'll talk about the rainy day funds, and that's not investing. You have to get into a position to where your money is making enough money to take care of you. And that's the position that all this channel was about, is putting you guys in a better position than what you may have started out with. 2017, I filed a bankruptcy. I knew that I had a really good understanding, or I have a really good understanding of finance. That was just a situation gone bad. But I knew that this was the best opportunity for me to start teaching you guys about the system that I use for my credit. I want to also talk to you guys about the systems that I use in my personal finance as well.
We talk a lot about the professional athletes in the NFL. 78% of NFL football players will go bankrupt within the first couple of years. 78%. Now, keep in mind, the average NFL football player has made $6 million over a 3-year time period. They don't last very long in the NFL because it's such a physical sport. So 3 years in the NFL, they've made $6 million, and within 2 years, it's gone. In the NBA, the numbers are a little bit better. Within 5 years, 60% of NBA players will be bankrupt. 60%. And they last a little bit longer in the NBA, and they make more. The average amount somebody will make in the NBA is north of $25 million. And yet it's gone within just a couple of years. It's really unbelievable. I mean,
one myth that I hear a lot of people talk about is that if I make more money, my problems will become less. And Biggie said it best: more money, more problems. And that's the truth. And that's the situation that this doctor that I was talking about at the beginning of this video was in. He made more money. And what he did with his money, he took his money and he started buying things with this money. Like he had a car, he had cars, multiple cars, he had a house, a high mortgage that he couldn't really afford. His expenses were more than what he was bringing in. A lot of times people don't understand that the money that you bring into your household, it's not all your money. Just like when I have my trucking business. This trucking business, when I get paid, when my business gets paid, that is not all my money. Even though that after all my expenses, there may be money left over, that is still not my money. I pay myself a salary every week, and whatever is left over, that's the business's money because there's going to be rainy days. You don't think about the rainy days when it's raining. You think about the rainy days when it's sunny. So when it's good out, that's when you start thinking about preparing yourself. What is your plan? What's going to happen? The better that you can plan for that rainy day, like if you could put yourself in a position that you could see into the future and kind of project what's going to happen, the person that can do that the best, there's a really good chance at the end of the day, when everything is all said and done, they're going to have a better plan than the person that's just taking the money and spending it. That's the difference from cash accumulation and cash flow. See, the athlete that makes a lot of money, that's cash accumulation. They can make a lot of money. But the person that can take the money and say, okay, I'm going to take 20% or 30% of it and I'm going to put it into investments of whatever I make, and that money is going to take care of my tomorrow. That person has a really good understanding of cash flow. If you are in a situation where you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's going to be really hard for you to get ahead. Like you have Dave Ramsey and his 7 steps that he came up with. It's going to be really hard to put yourself in a position to complete those 7 steps and have a good enough retirement plan to where you can accomplish all of this if if your money is not making money for you. If it's all on you, it's just my opinion that it's going to be uphill. You're going to have a hard struggle trying to get to the point where, okay, I'm going to pay off all my debt and I'm going to invest for the future. I'm going to talk about some strategies and videos ahead of or videos in the future of how you can do this successfully. True wealth is about how your money makes money for you. See, I talk a lot about credit on this channel. We talk about credit and I try to get you guys to understand credit, but I feel an obligation that I need to tell you guys it's not just about credit. Like this whole thing that I'm trying to teach you guys, it's about your financial plan. And let me explain it to you this way. See, when I don't want you guys going out here just applying for credit, getting credit so that you could say, I got this FICO score, I got this credit card. Each one of your credit cards has a job. Your credit score is a tool. Um, if if your credit score isn't to make your life easier, then no, you don't need credit. There's no credit needed. Dave Ramsey's strategy is perfect. But if you, let's say, have a commute to work, and you live 60 miles from your job, let's say, it's really important that you have a vehicle that can get you to and from work safely. So understanding that debt is a something that's necessary. Credit cards for some of us is necessary if you believe that you are going to be purchasing a home or you want to leverage your credit to get into a business. I don't think I would have gotten this far in this trucking game if I did not have the credit that I have now. Everybody knows I filed a bankruptcy, but do you know that now I just broke down in Arizona and I contacted Penske, and I could have gotten a truck with no down payment. They looked at my business credit and they looked at my personal credit and they said, "Hey, we don't need to put down any down payments or anything like that. If you want to get a truck, this is what the amount that it's going to cost you." I think it was going to be $100, $180 a day with a 6 cents per mile for 5 days, and then I'll get 2 days free or something like that. I don't want to go into the details, but the point of the story is when you have credit, you have options. When you are thinking about your wealth plan, do you do you plan on getting a home? Do you plan on getting rental property? Do you plan on getting a vehicle? And if so, your credit is going to help you get the best financing possible. It's not out here so that you can go out here and have, I got 5 American Expresses, 6 Chases, um, 2 Capital Ones. You got all these credit. I got $100,000 worth of credit cards. For what? You can accomplish your plan much more efficient than going through all of that. And if that's the plan, I just want to go out here and accumulate credit cards. At some point, if that's your plan, at some point, that whole thought process, I believe it's going to jam you up. I believe that if you don't have a plan on what cards that you want to get and obtain, then you have to have a plan in place and follow that plan. I'll give you a perfect example. Chase has a 524 rule, meaning you can't have more than 5 inquiries in the last 24 months. So if that's the requirement, why are you going out here applying for all this credit knowing that your whole goal was to get a Chase credit card, if that was your goal? But understanding that you have to have a plan in place in order to get to the end of the road. See, when I start putting my plans in place, I always think from the end to present. That's how I start thinking about my plans. My plan isn't to have, $1 million worth of credit cards so I can go buy an apartment building or I'm going to go buy land with that. If you need a loan to do whatever investment you want to make, use your credit, but how it's going to take good credit to do it, not credit cards. That's one of the worst financing vehicles that you can have in your arsenal. Don't finance anything with credit cards. So, if that's the case, why are you applying for so much credit? Why are you putting yourself in a position that you're going out here applying for 16, 17, 18 credit cards when you only need 3 to 5? You don't need to have, 5 Chases, 3 American Expresses, 4 Capital. You don't need all that. That's just my personal opinion. And if that's what we're doing, then there's a really good chance this channel is not going to be for you, because I'm trying to encompass everything finance wise. And that to me is just a horrible strategy, going out accumulating credit cards. Capital One is closing credit cards. If you're not using your credit cards, they will close your credit card. There are several credit card companies that are doing, they will lower your limits. I don't think you could responsibly manage 16 to 20 credit cards, like using them properly. If you can, great. But I just don't think the average person can use credit cards in that way. Another myth that people use when dealing with credit cards or personal finance in general, they talk about, well, I'm not good with money. I'm not good with credit. I'm not good with credit cards. The reason why I have people start out with starter cards and building relationships with financial institutions is because none of us started out knowing how to deal with personal finance. None of us was sat down and say, "Hey, look, this is how you deal with credit. This is how you deal with loans." We weren't taught these things, and so there's a gradual learning curve that we must go through to get a good understanding on once we get to the point where we have a lot of credit, we know what to do. We know that, well, just because I got the credit doesn't mean that I get to use the credit. One of the downfalls that people make once they start getting credit is they think because I have this credit line, that's my money. And they will go out and they will just start spending things and then accumulating points, thinking that they're accumulating points when they're accumulating bad debt, and not understanding that that debt is going to have to get paid for at some point. There is nothing worse than having a client that I work with and getting them into the 700s, putting them on a budget and getting them in the right position, and then they call me back 2 3 years later, and then they tell me, hey Kenny, look, I got myself in a situation, I used up all my credit cards, and now I'm going to have to file bankruptcy. What do you think? It's nothing worse than hearing that, because I know that I feel a little bit responsible, because I got to keep you from going down these potholes, these avenues that I know that lead to danger. And one of them is, once you start getting credit cards, which I know if you're listening to this channel, you will start getting those high limit credit cards. But once you get them, do you know how to manage that credit properly? Do you understand that just because you have a 25 to $50,000 credit line, that you don't get to go out and have a night on the town on you, right? Because sometimes you think, oh, okay, I got that. One of the hardest things you're going to learn is how to say no to people, because now your name becomes can I. That once you start building your credit and getting your personal finances together and your budget together, your name becomes can I. Hey, hey, can I get this? Can you let me, can you take me out here? That becomes your name. And you have to learn to tell people no. Just because you might have a $50,000 credit card and you might have your rainy day fund saved up. That's your rainy day fund. You're going to have to develop the skill set. I know people are not going to understand it. Some of you will. You're going to have to learn to tell people no. I don't have it. I don't have it. They're going to look at you and they're going to see you, your engine blow, and it comes out to $7,000 to fix your engine or whatever it is, and then you put it down because you've been saving your money. They're going to be like, this guy got money. And it's really not like that. It's that you've been preparing yourself and putting yourself in a position knowing that that day was going to come. And so they have the inclination that, hey, look, this person has money. And they think your money is their money. That's going to be the hardest thing. That's going to be one of the hardest things on your financial journey, is telling people close to you know that you don't have it, because that money is for your problems, not their problems. The better you plan for the unexpected, the better off you're going to be. Your cash flow system starts with your budget. What is a budget? Let's start there. What is a budget? There's only four parts to your budget. One, tracking your income. Are you tracking all your income that's coming in? This is what your this is the first step of your budget. The second step of your budget, tracking all of your expenses. Are you tracking all of your expenses that are coming into your cash flow system? Three, your savings and investments. What is your plan when you get your money? How much goes to necessities? What goes to savings and what goes into investments? That's the third part of your budget. And the fourth and final part of your budget is analyzing that system month to month, tracking it, and making sure it's putting you on a path to where you're trying to go. As long as you understand that, like some people say, oh, I don't want to get this app, the Mint app. is gone, or Quicken or Monarch. They have all these budgeting apps. I don't want to spend money on that. As long as you're doing that 4 steps on your budget, there's a really good chance you have a great cash flow system. And once you start putting yourself on a cash flow system where you're tracking all of your expenses and income, and you're putting money away, like they have several different cash flow systems where it's like I'll tell you mine. 30% of the income that I pay myself goes into savings and investments, right? 30%. 70% is for me to live off. Now, that's the 70% that I pay myself, not the 70% that my trucking company makes. See, my trucking company has a different cash flow system. When you get to the point where you start having systems in place, that's when you know you're on the right track. When you have a plan that's put in place to help you get to your end game, that's when you know. And if you don't have a system or a plan, some way to track your expenses, some way to track the income and the expenses that are in your cash flow system, then the only thing you're doing is accumulating cash. That's it. And I'm telling you, I'm here to tell you, when that rainy day comes and you don't have some type of system put in place, maybe you make it, maybe you don't. I don't know. There are things that are going to happen regardless, but I do want you guys to start thinking about your system. What is it that you're trying to accomplish? What credit cards that you want to have, and what type of credit score? Why do you want to have a 740 or 800 FICO score? Whatever it is, why do you want to have that score? What is it that you're trying to do? If you're if you don't believe in having a home, you don't believe in debt, credit cards, you don't believe in having any type of loans, any type of debt, then a credit score is not good for you. And that's okay. I'm not saying that's good. I'm not saying it's bad. But that's the system that you guys are working upon, where you could be completely debt free and you don't have to worry about it. That is the Dave Ramsey system. And it's a damn good system. But if you are a type of person where you live 60 miles from work, you're you have to finance a car, and you want to have a home for your kids for stability, and you want to retire in a home because that's just what you grew up in, and you say, I don't want to rent a home from somebody. I want to own my own land, or I want to start a business, a trucking company, and I want to own my own truck, but I don't have the money to go spend $150,000 on a truck, so I might have to finance a truck. You're going to need a great credit system or a great credit score to put you in a position to where you could go out and do these things, all the while still funneling money into your future, right? Taking care of yourself in the future, your retirement accounts and stuff like that. And you're going to have to analyze the system that you have in place to make sure that's the system that you're going to continue with. That system is going to get you to where you're trying to go. All right. I don't want to make this video too long. I hope this video helps you. The gentleman, if you're watching this video and that was you that put cap, thank you. Um, would love to have a conversation with you about your cash flow system. Would love to have a conversation about your experiences with finances. Um, Other than that, you guys stay blessed. I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. Talk to you later. Bye bye.
So collectively, me and my wife are 460,000 in debt, in which 435,000 of it is student loan.
Who's the doctor? Who's the lawyer?
I am.
Okay.
I'm a chiropractor.
You're a chiropractor. What
Yes.
did you pay for chiropractic school?
Chiropractic school was probably pretty close to probably $350.
And how many chiropractors make enough to justify anywhere near that? None?
Maybe 1%, like the upper 1%.
Yeah, that's probably true.